All right. Hello, 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 and welcome everybody who is following along with A Curious Coach. My name is Michael Catlow. Today is September 14th, 2001 at 4 p.m. London, England time. And the reason why we're going to start that off today is because I believe we'll be doing multiple interviews with this rock star that you're going to be hearing about today. And so we want to see how things develop. So it is my honor and my privilege today to be able to interview somebody who I look up to, has helped me tremendously. I actually have a piece of paper here from one of our first real conversation with 37 bullet points of takeaways that I received. And I believe I would have had more than 37. I just couldn't type as fast as Sarah was sharing a bit about her journey, what she does, how she helps people around the world. And this idea of a curious coach is her idea, where she is interviewing people all around. But today I have the pleasure of interviewing her. So, Sarah, are you ready?
I am ready, and thank you for an epic introduction. That was incredible, and I'm very proud to be handing you the title of A Curious Coach today. So thank you, and hello everyone. I am buzzing. I don't think anyone realizes with our previous conversation prior to pressing record that I'm trying to ground myself, guys, because I love communicating with Michael. So here we are. Let's do this.
And to make this clear for everybody, this is going to be non-scripted. Sarah actually has no idea what the questions are that are going to come to her. She gave me 3 questions that she normally asks of other people, and we'll get into that for sure. But based on what's going on in your life right now, my bullet point number 10 in our first conversation takeaway was: you can slow down even when the world is chaotic. Bullet point number 11, life every day should be an adventure when you wake up, and you never know what's going to happen. Regardless of what others say, this is your transformational journey. And so kind of starting with that point, why don't you tell everybody and tell us who you are and how you got to where you are today? I think that'll be a good starting point for us.
Okay, so who am I? My name is Sarah-Jayne Juniper. I am an individual who, I think on reflection, is someone who's never fitted into the societal box of fitting in, what's expected, what's appropriate. And I think the beginning of my journey, young Sarah was someone who was very, very shy. Never in my life would I dream of being on camera speaking about myself. I was even checked by doctors because they thought I was a mute or I was deaf. I wasn't. I just was socially awkward and only trusted a very few small group of people. From that, I took the leap. Teachers at school, I wasn't a big school fan. I took the leap of saying, I'm not going to stay at school. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to do my own thing. And I started finding my voice. And I think I share this because anyone who does know me or is getting to know me, I come across as a very bubbly, confident person, but I've had to really overcome a lot of barriers in terms of getting my story and my voice heard. And I still to this day describe an energy of a barrier and a block around my throat when I try and explain who I am. So you might even find that there's wiggling and fidgeting as I go on through this interview. So who is Sarah-Jayne? I like to say that I'm an explorer. I am super curious. School, although freaked me out, actually enabled me to find the strength to go to college and university. And from that, I was able to travel the world and meet some incredible individuals, meet my closest friends. And now I'm here to show people that even if you're this silent, shy, socially awkward individual, when you're passionate about something, you can achieve whatever you put your mind to. I don't know if I've gone off tangent, answered your question, but I am from the United Kingdom. I love my country, even though when I grew up, I promised that I would never live here, and now I love it so much. And yeah, here we are, Michael. And just guide me if I go off on a tangent. I apologize.
No, it's perfect. And again, I was jotting down more note cards and more points. And Sarah, I think for me, again, I can only speak for one of almost 8 billion people on planet Earth, right? But one of the things that I really resonated with and really connected when we just met on that first Zoom through a little networking call, and then we did our quick one-on-one, was again your ability and your desire to just be authentic, to just be transparent, to just be you. And I think that's kind of a baseline in your messaging and what you're doing with your coaching. And as you were just sharing of, I never fit into the social box, a societal box. It took me a while to find my voice. I've had to break through barriers. I'm an explorer. It pulled up in my head that Marianne Williamson quote of, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? And actually, who are you not to be? And I don't have this memorized, by the way. I've got it pulled up. I did a quick Google search. You're playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And when we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And to me, everything that I've learned, I literally just got goosebumps. Everything that I've learned about you in the multiple calls and the multiple interactions that we've had is, it seems to me like that's kind of just who you are and how you show up in the world, of being your best self, but then also helping others find their voice and realize that their story is powerful. So again, just an open-ended conversation on that. I think it's one of the greatest gifts that you could ever give somebody, is you asking them their story and helping them realize their power. And you're a master at that.
Thank you. I'm also sitting here with sweaty palms and goosebumps when I hear you speak. And I think, going back on the question you asked me, because I felt that I didn't fit in, I have always been drawn to individuals who feel the same. And whether you take my career in education, I thrive on those that majority will see as the challenging, the emotionally draining, the rebels of the group. Now, I'm not sitting there saying I was very far removed from this. I wasn't that child at school, but I see magic in absolutely everyone. And when I see those light bulb moments, whatever age you are, whoever you are, I'm excited to see where you go. And I think, you summed it up. It is, I think, my natural skill. I'm only just learning to accept that and not feel awkward in going, oh yes, it's my natural skill to understand you and be curious. But I'm very proud that that's the type of person I am, and where that authenticity, that curiosity has led me is around the globe and learning. I don't have the memory to create big words and remember all the names and tell you where I've learned this. All I can share is my personality and my encouragement for you to have that drawn out in yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Well, as you've traveled around, you've met, hundreds, thousands, however many people you've coached, you've spoken with, you've had aha moments come for yourself, as well as sharing and helping others have those pop up in your head. And sometimes as you've traveled, I'm sure you realize some people feel like maybe they're the only one experiencing something, when in reality, there's probably a lot of others. So that being said, like you said, you've had barriers, you've had obstacles to your success. And so are you open to sharing what some of those barriers, some of those challenges are? Because there's probably a lot of people that will resonate and connect with some of those stories.
Definitely. I think, there's different phases of our lives, right? I think my first big barrier was being at school, and I've only come to terms with it. I actually took part. I decided to do hypnosis. And what that showed me was a lot of my anxiety around exams, certificates, qualifications was linked to the fact that I don't even know what age I was, but being told that I was in the wrong class for spelling, I'd put myself in a higher group, I'd walked into the wrong classroom. And I didn't realise the impact that had on me. And anyway, hypnosis led me to seeing this vision of young Sarah sad in the middle of a classroom. And it scarred me like massively. But what that then did, and starting to explore that feeling, and again, I think it's a natural wanting to explore and understand myself, I started to say, well, that's not a weakness. It's okay. It's okay to say that someone's hurt your feelings. And I think that's a huge message to give to people, to say it is okay to say, you have hurt my feelings. You don't have to say it directly to the person. You don't have to, but accept within that you're upset and hurt. And then it got to the end of my school year and I got told that my grades would never be good enough, that I wouldn't achieve what I'm saying I want to achieve. And I turned that into, I'm going to prove you wrong. And actually I kind of did a under the table middle finger and go, right, okay, you don't believe in me, bring it on. And what that enabled me to do is achieve a master's in psychology. And I'm not saying that's the be all and end all. I was fascinated in learning and I didn't want people to tell me I wouldn't be able to achieve that. Travel, I'm trying to break this up because there's so many different things. Travel for me was a real family thing. Very, very fortunate to explore Europe growing up and other parts of the world. And I always saw travel for me as a freedom. But each time I went traveling, I can now sit here and say I was running away from something, whether that was a relationship, and that's family, love relationship, a friendship relationship. And although traveling in its own right gave me so much, what it stopped me doing was committing to any form of relationship. I wasn't committing to settling with anything. I was never satisfied, so to say. So my adrenaline was there. It's like, oh, I'm living life on the edge. I'm camping, I'm moving around. But as soon as that was an ordinary, I was like, right, I'm ready to go home. And then I'd look for the next challenge to tell me, oh, okay, you need to move on again. And I think the message from that journey is, wow, you're allowed to appreciate living at home and grow where you grew up. You can change your mind. If it's not somewhere you felt safe before, you can come and go, but then fall in love with it. Your idea and your beliefs can change. And I think some of my biggest barriers are, as a family, we have been faced with a lot of things. I've always seen us as the strong, empowering family, and we actually are. You know, I grew up inspired by my mum and dad and my brother. They made me feel safe and secure. So when that was when hard times hit, whether that was personal journeys for my mum and dad, which isn't my position to share, but also when my mum was diagnosed with cancer, it suddenly made me go, do you know what? I love my family and this is what truly matters to me. And my mindset started shifting, and you know, this is all very recent in the grand scheme of life. So I think my biggest barriers is I've spent so long trying to find the grass that's greener on the other side of my reality, that actually the grass is greener right now where I am right now, and learning about my strengths and my barriers and accepting them and loving them for all the forms that they take.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pause, and that's a good. So in your own journey, but also with maybe clients or people you've talked with, of course, without mentioning any names or specifics, is it fair to say that every human being on the planet has some type of barrier, challenge, obstacle, limiting belief of some form or fashion?
100%. If someone can come to you, and even someone like myself who has gone through and continues to go through this training, if someone comes to you and says, I have no barriers, I have no problems, I have no stresses in my life, then they're either not challenging themselves enough, they're lying to you, or they are lying to themselves. Because life in general, every time you wake up, we're faced with the unknown. And even that thought process, I believe, is a challenge in its own right. The unknown, the unpredictable, like what's coming next, creates a stress, and it's understanding how you manage that. And you can take that on different levels. Obviously, that's a conversation in its own right. So in answer to your question, 100%, every single person on this planet is dealing with some form of barrier, trauma, or limiting belief.
Yeah, and with your education as well as your experience, one of the notes that I just wrote down as you were sharing some of your barriers was when I realized that it's not a weakness, it was okay. And I didn't have to tell somebody that my feelings were hurt, I just had to accept it within. So is that I'm asking for my own personal benefit, but is that like, if we can acknowledge first off in our head, I don't think I have the time, I don't think I have the money, I don't think I'm smart enough, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm whatever these things are, if we can then just ask ourselves or get clear, it's not a weakness, it's actually a strength. Is that a universal principle that people can use all over, or is it specific to case by case?
I would say that if you're using time, money, other people's behaviors as a reason not to do something, they're excuses. Now, that sounds really harsh when I say that out loud, but one thing I've learned is we constantly reflect our personal, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever we don't like about ourselves, whatever we're not willing to understand about ourselves, we reflect on others and we take it out on others. So if that's what's racing through your mind, stop making excuses and hold yourself accountable, because you can take control of that. Is it easy? Hell no. It's a lot. And I think that sums up coaching. We don't have magic wands, but it's about stopping and going, okay, let's think about the situation I'm in right now. Observe yourself. How are you feeling? Like, what's going on? Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling too relaxed? And what environment are you in? And then once you've made that choice, that decision of how you're going to respond, then you can proceed. And that response can be, do you know what? I'm going to stop this right now and I'm going to walk away because it's not serving me powerfully. Or it's, I'm going to take a deep breath and then I'm going to carry on because this is a task that I do need to complete for whatever reason.
Yeah, so valuable. Such good tips, points, and philosophy. So I know this is only one conversation that we're having being recorded. We've had several conversations and they've all been enlightening to me. So we've now learned a little bit about your journey. We've gotten a little bit about your blocks, your challenges, your obstacles. So either for you personally or suggestions to others, like any tips, ideas, stories, or just messages for people to like truly follow their passion or chase their bliss or create a life that they desire in any form or fashion? Again, whether it's your own journey or what you'd recommend other people do.
That's a great question. I think for me, the message I would give to people when it comes to following your passion is go inwards, be selfish. And what I mean by being selfish is not being unkind to others. I mean, take time for you and sit down and go, what do I enjoy? and then ask yourself, if these things were taken away from me and I only had to choose one, which one draws my attention most? And that's your passion. And then start that cycle again. Okay, so I've got my passion, but what is it that makes me passionate about it? How would I turn this into something that provides others, or because most jobs and businesses and careers are about giving to other people. So it's then you can form how you can create that into a passion and a reality. And you might not want to become a business person. It may be that you want to increase that passion in your everyday life. But go inwards, be selfish, and just brainstorm all the things that you love. And then say, if you had to choose one, or a couple. You know, when I look at what I'm doing right now, I combine a couple of my passions because I realize I can. But to start off, what's the one that really jumps out and start from there?
Are you able to put language to those like few things that you have as bullet points that you're combining into one? I assume it's around a curious coach in some form or fashion. It has to be, because when you talk about it, your eyes light up, your demeanor changes. It's definitely flow.
Yeah, so I think for me, you know, I'm obsessed with being outdoors and nature. Love it. I also love working with people and working with everyone tells me I need a niche, and I understand that. So guys, hear me out. My niche is going to be really broad so that I can combine. But yeah, I'm looking to, and I am now experiencing how I can bring coaching in nature, but in a really unique way. And I'm not quite there yet. I don't know what that uniqueness is. I have some visions of owning land, so that different groups of people can come together and learn from each other. But my huge passions are connecting the world globally, using nature, using conversations, and just empowering each other. They're my keywords. But who knows what that's going to look like? I've got some images in my head. Like I say, I see rolling hills, I see water, I see people and communities. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, when we talked last week, you were on your phone and you had these beautiful trees and green grass and bright blue sky behind you. So I think that is in perfect alignment with who you are.
Yeah. Yes, small steps. You know, I know that that's not an overnight thing. And that's another message to anyone listening. You can have your passions, but it doesn't all have to come together in an instant. You know, just how can you integrate that into your personal life for you first? Right, what's the next step? How can you then create that to provide for others? Is definitely the tactic that I'm taking on board anyway.
Amazing. Well, one more question. So as a coach yourself, well, as an explorer, as a personal development pursuer of self, and then also as a teacher, as a guide, as a coach, as a great question asker to bring out, stories from other people. How would somebody connect with you? Do you do, like in your coaching business, do you do like discovery calls, or how would somebody get in touch with you, and how would they work with you, and what would be like your dream experience to have with them?
Yeah, so to get in contact with me, yes, I do discovery calls and I'm all for connecting. So please, even if you're just curious for a powerful conversation, I am game, and always come to me. I'm passionate about it, I promise. But also send me an email and say, I'm really interested to be on a Curious Coach, or do you know what offers do you have? You know, I'm about to launch group coaching. I also provide one-to-one coaching, and it's important not to overwhelm people with those offers. But I've got a website, you can check me out there. I'm on social platforms, but I'll be sure to put them all in the comment box below so people know where to reach me and connect and just explore with me, really.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to tell everybody again to show the truth, right? I've got 37 bullet points from our first one-on-one call. The bigger the challenge, you've hooked me in. I don't fit in their box. I refuse to continue my career path in education. This was a good one. Where did it go? Have the confidence to follow your curiosity, and went to Turkey, triggered a freedom. You will find your answers if you go to Australia. Coaching made me look at myself so deep into my own personal judgments. Go and be you. Stop worrying about anybody else. Today, I've got 2 more note cards full of tips and ideas. So to everybody out there, again, take it for what it's worth, but I absolutely believe you should have a one-on-one call or participate in any of Sarah's group events that she's doing. And especially if she's doing something out in nature and you can get there and it's all coming together, holy moly, watch out world. That's going to be a spectacular event for you. So as we wrap this up, completely open-ended, is there anything at the tip of your tongue, at the forefront of your mind that you just want to say to the world, that sometimes it's weird for you to just say it yourself, but if somebody asks you the question, it gives you permission to say whatever the heck you want to say? So any message you want to leave with the world, any like, let's say life was to end today for you for some reason, we don't want that to happen, but like any legacy messages, or I don't mean to make it like a big deal, but just anything that's at the forefront of your mind or at the tip of your tongue that you just feel like you got to say right now.
I think for me right now is believe in yourself, go for it, because even if it sounds daunting and scary, once you start learning, it's not as scary and it's not as daunting, and it will be worth the roller coaster of a ride that is life.
That is going on its own individual note card. It will be worth, pardon me, the roller coaster ride. That one is going to get taped up on my wall. Believe in yourself, go for it. It will be worth the roller coaster ride. What an amazing message.
Thank you. And thank you for taking the lead and being a curious coach and allowing me to share my story and my passion. I've loved it.
Well, Sarah, you are a gift to the world. We look forward to talking with you more, learning more, seeing you bless people all over this beautiful planet. And to everybody out there, again, make sure to connect with Sarah, and I believe your life will be enhanced by doing so.
Thank you, guys.